For the CFA, you are graded on a 5-point scale. Read the rubric and find out what it would take for you to get a 4 or 5. Next thing you want to do is read carefully the first 3 questions on the slide about the Mr. Bean's gift. And then on the next slide, you will be answering the questions. Change the font size so that you can add more to your responses. Always refer back to the slide 5 to actually remember the question. Okay? And then as you can see, I'm using complete sentence to respond to the questions, and the model will go at the bottom. I will look back on the GIF for my model. I will add the shapes for the 2 rooms. You can always copy and paste the second room. You can search for image, change the size of the image, change the size of your room. You can copy and paste the same man for the investigators as well. Use arrow to show light coming from its source. Remember, the tip of the arrow must touch the mirror. However, one thing I noticed is that the room was getting in the way when I was trying to move the arrow, so I can just move back and forth the room. For the arrow that shows reflection, I'm gonna have to use a different color. And remember the end of the arrow, the initial arrow must meet the beginning of the second arrow, which is like the reflection or the transmission. Okay. And then for the light transmitted, meaning the light that actually went through the mirror, I'm going to use a dashed arrow. But since there was more light ray reflected, I'm gonna show that by adding more arrow reflecting. And label the room. And then here's where I will write my description. So you can always expand the size from the bottom. Notice that like when you're writing your description, think of somebody that's just looking at your model and they don't know what's going on. How would you describe it? Okay, so think about them not ever seeing the GIF. How would you describe your model? Okay, so think about that as you're writing your description. Don't forget to label Mr. Bean's room and the investigator's room and then the mirror. So this is my final product. I have answered the questions on the top. I have drawn my model and labeled all the parts and included keys indicating where the light is coming from and where it's going. And finally, I've written a description about my model. So make sure you replicate the same thing and you do the same thing in your own slides. And then tomorrow we will take the actual final CFA for the unit. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.